It's time to test drive this new outfit's capabilities even further. Come on, Frank. Grab the stink money and let's bail. All right. It's just, I've never seen a convenience store bring in this much cash before. The movie's working here now, remember? Oh, yeah. You want to see stars? I don't know, Frank. I've never really cared for the celeb types. What? I didn't say that. Frank, you're the only one here.
The two thugs spun. They saw nothing but shadows in the corners of the room. One suddenly grew a masked head covered in black, other than white eye covers. Blacker than the night around it, the form moved forward. The thugs stared in terror till one suddenly got his head and pulled a knife, the other a gun following suit.
Well, since we haven't tripped the alarm, maybe we should teach this guy a lesson. You get your first chance to work someone up, Tony.
A wicked grin soon spread across the man's face. The cold steel of the knife matched the gleam of his teeth and the white of his eyes in the dark. He stepped forward.
You got him covered, Frank?
Of course. Tony stepped toward the shadow. Carefully, he stepped. The shadow didn't budge at first. Then it stepped back.
Don't be afraid. You won't die. Maybe.
A hand reached forward, and a knife in the other. A car passed by outside. The flash of light exposed a hideous face of long fanged teeth and wicked features. The man jumped back a bit, startled, and then realized the shadow was gone. The thug looked about.
Well, Tony, we gonna get this started or what? I don't know where he went. What? He was right in front of you. He just vanished. What? What are you talking about? He just...
Something fell in the back of the store. Both thugs looked in this direction.
What was that? It was just him. He just ran down there is all. You don't think that... Look, it's just a guy. One guy. Now, let's get him and get out of here. We've been here too long already.
The two slinked into the dark aisles of the open store. A whisper, barely audible, filled the air near a thug.
I was just going to stop you, scare you into never doing this again, since you were only common thugs. Common? You're talking to Ace Gang members. Well, if you insist, I'll treat you differently.
The man spun, thinking he'd see the speaker. Suddenly, a canned good impacted the back of his head with the speed of a professional pitcher. He cried out in agony as he fell. The other man came close and inspected his buddy.
Hey, Tony, you all right? Tony!
A whisper filled the air again.
He might have a fractured skull. Careful. Loss of brain matter can be bad for the life, I hear. And they make you livid, by the way. They keep you alive. It's not like they can execute you for robbing a store.
The man spun in a panic and fired his revolver into the store at random.
Attempted murder, however.
A knife flew through the air, hitting the man's hand. He dropped the gun and stepped back, holding his bleeding appendage. Glancing back and forth between the aisles, he watched every shadow. One appeared to move. Then it didn't. Another shifted, but went suddenly still. One stood tall in the middle of the aisle, then vanished with a blink. Sweat poured down the man's face.
Who are you? What are you? The Blue Shadow? Do you see any blue?
The man looked to his buddy's unconscious body, and it wasn't there.
Stay away from me!
A fist came out of nowhere. The man flew into the ground. He scrambled back up. Pain suddenly surged through his arm. The source? His hand. The cut hand was being squeezed. Hard. The man tried to struggle, and found he was allowed to face his attacker. But the pain being ramped up was the price as the bones in his hand cracked. He buckled to his knees in front of the shadow, breaking his hand. He grabbed the shadow's wrist. It was clammy cold. He looked up at the being, but what he saw made him wish he hadn't. He tried to look away.
What's the matter? Don't like my new face? How about this one?
The man dared not to look back, but found himself compelled. What he saw transcended hideousness. The teeth grew slowly, sliding out of the flesh. The twisted brow line, the eyes of white, uncaring soullessness.
Where is your gang's new headquarters? I don't know. Where is it?
The bones in the thug's hand snapped again. Gah!
You have 2 hands.
Another crunch.
Well, now only 1.
The man desperately tried to keep the other hand away, but ultimately failed. Tendrils reached out instead of fingers from the shadow and reached around his hand until the fingers gripped down like a vice. Crack.
No, please, God. Tell me.
The voice had changed. A reverberating, deeper, oily resonance came with the words. The thug stared up at the ever-morphing face of black. It twisted terror into him.
The warehouse. 19th. The lab there. Dozens of men. Guns. Smuggling drugs.
Snap. Pop.
The boss. He visits at 1 a.m. There's a meeting tonight.
The pressure released on the hand finally. The thug sang in agony as he was allowed to look away from the hideousness that was the shadow's wicked face. Then suddenly the bones in his hand busted like glass. He screamed out in agony. Then, when he looked up, nothing. He looked around, seeing no one. Then he saw the shadow of his friend hanging upside down from one of the light fixtures. The man sprinted to the door, absolute panic setting in. Sometime later, outside a warehouse, he fell to the ground. He looked about the rooftops, then knocked on the door.
Who is it? Frank, let me in. All right, jeez.
Frank pushed in the door before it could even fully open.
Hey, what's your problem? Whoa, wait a minute, man. You all right? You look scared crapless.
Frank sobbed under his breath as he fell to his knees.
He's coming. Who's coming? He's coming. Who? The cops? He's coming. What, a bounty hunter? He's coming. Come on, Frank, tell me who it was.
The guard grabbed Frank up and turned him to force him to look into his eyes and pay attention. But the face he saw was white with fear, terror, and shock.
Holy crap, man. What?
Then he saw Frank's hands, mangled like tree roots.
Holy!
An ugly but well-dressed man, with a bit of a gut and a wart on his nose, sat in a comfy chair at the end of a table on the other side of the warehouse. He looked upon his lesser thugs, peons, and underlings surrounding him with an air of authority that signified the level of a veteran gangster mob boss that he was. The guard came forward, dragging Frank along.
Hey, boss, you gotta see this.
What is it?
It's Frank, man. He's all mussed up.
He brought Frank to the boss's table.
Look at his hands.
Many men cursed under their breaths and stepped forward to get a better look.
What did he say? I'm not sure. The other guard said he kept saying, he's coming.
Conversation started all over.
Quiet.
Everyone went silent, eyes on the boss.
I did manage to get one other word out of him.
The boss watched the guard expectantly.
Shadow.
The boss stood slowly until he reached his full height, as if afraid something was about to attack at any second.
Get him out of here. But, boss, I said, get him out of here.
They all started to shift about, and then a light busted. A spark of electricity, and the lights went out. The whole warehouse went black. Several men cursed under their breath.
Quiet.
Silence. A man screamed in the dark. Then another. Gunshots suddenly went off in all directions. The boss frantically looked about at his men as he drew his own pistol, as in the flashes of gunshots he caught glimpses of a shadow taking out men left and right with blinding speed and agility. Finally, the last shot fired. All was black and silent once again. The boss could hear someone shivering, almost sniveling. It was himself. He started struggling to find a lighter on his person.
I'm not afraid of the dark,
he challenged.
You should be.
The man spun to the direction of the whisper and fired off a shot. He tried to slow his breathing, to no avail.
When you were little.
The boss spun again after each pause in the sentence. He struggled to get the lighter lit.
And scared of the dark.
A swoosh of air moved nearby.
You know that thing, that nameless thing you always knew was there.
A minuscule piece of glass cracked.
But you couldn't see it.
A table shifted.
You thought you could hear it.
Sparks lit on the flint.
No one believed you, and never your parents.
No flame still.
That thing that everyone was afraid of when they were little.
More sparks this time.
That made them scared of the dark.
Finally, a flame, but it went out.
I am. Shut up!
He squeezed off another shot. A man groaned and fell to the ground.
That was one of your own men. Guess he's out of the gang, huh? That's okay. He can join me now. What are you talking about? Everyone who dies comes to me, especially the bad ones. You shut up. Is that human waste I smell? Some of your guys must have died. Or are you that afraid already? I'm not afraid. That's right. Keep telling that to yourself. It always works. That's why people always tell themselves that.
Finally, the lighter lit. He breathed a sigh of relief and looked up, and then cried out in terror at what he saw standing just at the edge of the light before the flames suddenly went out again. His cries echoed throughout the building, and into the street, and into the night.